Hello, hi Steven, how are you?
Hi, I'm good.
One more minute, okay?
Yeah. Are we doing the FRQ from last week?
Are
we going to be working on the FRQ from last week? The Barron style?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
We will be working on this Friday. Actually, I converted from original coding back to discussion of FRQ if student has a question. Yes. So helping student who might have question in FRQ. Okay, it's 8 o'clock. I'll get started giving some short talk and we will go into the problems, okay? So first thing is like this year, we do have a big change on AP Computer Science. So right here, I do have a video talking about the AP CSA changes. Okay, and then he covered 5 major changes, and then these 5 major changes I posted in the group. So these 5 major changes is inheritance is removed, text file is added. So this one scanner will be tested. Screenwriter will be tested. Okay, these two are more important part. You need to know how to open file and then read data in. And then 4 units instead of 10 units. Okay, and then question 3 originally was on array. Now array and array list. Now it changed to array list only, no array, but may also read in text files. So may use the scanner. And then scoring change. Okay, now second one I would like to discuss is the change of the score. The change of the score is originally 40 question, 40 question on multiple choice, now 42. Time is the same, still 1.5 hours. So your final score would be, let's assume that you totally answer Q question, divided by 42 times 55. This will be the number of points you get in the multiple choice. I'll use this equation. Free response will be 4 questions, totally 25 points. And the 25 point is breakdown into 7 plus 7 plus 5 plus 6. Okay, it's actually breakdown in this way. It's not even. Originally, it's 4 questions, 10 each. So it's the 36 for the reader's point, for the regular point, and then 4 more points for reader's points. Each problem will have 10 points and 9 points by your technical point, 4 points by the reader's preference. Okay, anyway, these are gone, so we don't discuss this one. You totally will get the 25, and then your number of the point 25 divided by 25 times 45. So this will be your FRQ. So your FRQ plus your multiple choice will give you a from 0 to 100 now. It's not 80 points anymore. It's actually 100 now. And then 100 points, I believe maybe 80% is what you needed for A. Okay, is what you needed for A. So these are the breakdown for the problem, and then FRQ changed to Q1. That's actually structure of the program. Q2 class. So Q1 will be if then else, while loop, those kind of things. Q2 is class. Q3 will be on array list. And may also work on the data set. Okay, may work on data set or files. Q4 would be 2-dimensional array. Okay, that's it. Now that's what we have for this format. Now let's go back to the Barron's diagnostics test for FRQ. Let's go to there. Barron's problem still work, they take from the older set and rearrange the program question orders. Now, number one, this week a few students did not use the editor, so you need to use a text editor. So right here, you can use Notepad, but Notepad is not really efficient. So for me, usually I use the Notepad Double Plus. So you need to download this Notepad Double Plus. Okay, this is Notepad Double Plus. No, this is wrong. Let's open for it. So this is Notepad Double Plus. Number one, you cannot use anything to assist your language. When you do a test, there will be no color. This color for the language will be gone. You are only given an editor that's in the so-called Blue Book. It's a software online, but they don't give you too much of the capability. So you need to write everything right into the file. Okay, right into the file instead of trying to work on something else. Don't use the Java. Okay, don't use anything else. Some students still explain that he used a different tool to create different file format that we don't accept it. Okay, we only accept text file, no PDF, no Java, no other format, because you are going to use the digital test online, and they only take the text files. Okay, that's the editor that you can use. You can use this one, or you can use another one. You can use Visual Studio Code as well. But Visual Studio Code, when you get started, it is better that, let's actually close everything. It's better that you do new text file. So you got a text file. And then after you open new text file, you actually save as first. You directly save as. That's as soon as we actually go to here. Let me open a directory, and I'm going to save to a file. That's this one is called Barron. So BD, Barron's diagnostic test. So I say it's BD. So let's put into there. And then don't use untitled. So Visual Studio Code, let's call it BD. Okay, call it BD. So this one is to create a text file. So you either use the Notepad Double Plus or Notepad or Visual Studio Code. Either one of them will work. Okay. So far, this is the tool issue. Any questions so far?
No.
No. Okay, no question. We go back to the problem set. Today, because it's the first day for the workshop, usually I may not go into every problem, but this one I'm going to go into every problem. So this one we directly pull down to the FRQ portion. So remember, FRQ question, there are a lot of the reading you need to do. So right here, it looks like it has 2 pages. And the college may be longer, it may be even longer. Okay, maybe even longer. So you have to be prepared that they may give you a lot of things. Number one, when you go to the problem set, okay, this one is actually 7-point words. Okay. When you go to this problem set, they give you a class and then some description and then what it is, those kind of things. Don't spend too much time on reading this one, because later you will figure out reading this, it will take you a long time. So usually we don't suggest you to read it first there. First thing I would like you to do is actually directly go to the problem. So the problem tells you that there is a part A and the part B, okay, part A and part B. So part A, it will need you to complete a method that's called number of symbols, okay, which you'll find a character in a string as neither letter or digit. Okay, so it's actually neither number. So you want to find out there's a function called number of the symbol, there's a function called number of the letter, there's a number called a number of digit. Okay, so your part A is this one. You need to calculate the number of the symbols. So this one is pretty simple. You actually have a string, so you know that as string the length, and then you minus the number of letter and minus the number of the symbol, then that's good. And these two functions are static functions. So remember these three functions, they are all static functions. So that's all you need to know. Now, since you are working on this part A is a function called number of symbols. So when you go to the editor, that's as soon as you go to this editor. I'm going to close this Notepad double plus because we're not going to use it. Let's focus on this one. So I'm going to tune this box. Okay, so when you start to answer this question, you can put in maybe FRQ. Okay, parents. Some title for the exam. Okay, this is for us. Okay, the real exam, you don't need that. In the real exam, you don't need that. You can do double slash because it's the comment. Okay. And then you do question 1, part A. Okay, like that. Now, get started. Now, the first thing is that you already know that this one you are going to actually work on a public static integer number of symbols, and you get a string. And this one is a extremely simple question, so you just need one line. Iterate return, okay. Your s the length minus the number of digit of the s, and also minus number of the letters for s. That's it. Okay, your question 1 part 1 is already done. Question 1 part 2. So you write down like this. So question part B, let's look at the part B. Now you need to go to read the part B. So part B is right here. You want to check the logic, what is strong, what is weak. So right here, they give you the rules, okay? They give you the rules. So apparently they are using the number of the characters, A or more. So you do have a greater equals A, that's one range. Number 2 range is actually greater equals 5 and then less than 8, that's a second range. Third range is less than 5, 3 range, okay? You just need to design the problem using these 3 domains. Don't use a very fancy or combination of logic. You are kidding yourself, you will overdo it and also make things wrong, okay? That's actually a bad habit. So this one, you just look at the top level logic. It is working on the if then else. So this one, again, you get started for this one. This one, you read the part B. Part B is going to create this problem. This problem is a function, so you work on a function. So let's do this. You go type the function first. So public static string password strings, and then you do string p. Okay, that's actually the function header that you need to create. I mean, make it longer. Now you have this one, and then we will start to work on the length of the problems. So as I said, don't use a combination of if then else and the length. You make things too complicated. So you just do if. Let's do this. Let's actually have a integer n equals p the length. You have the length. If the actually n greater than equal 8, okay, you do one thing. And then if actually n greater equals 5 and the n less than 8, you do another thing. And the rest of them is right here, okay? The rest then is right here. The rest of them, you already can judge it, because if you length is actually shorter than 5, you already know that it's actually weak. Okay, shorter than 5 is already weak. So right here, you directly return weak. Now, going back to the longer than 8. Longer than 8, if you go to the longer than 8, you have at least 8 characters and 1 digit, 1 letter, and 1 symbol. Okay, so you need to do this. You need to calculate the number of the digit, number of the symbol, number of the letters. So integer, okay, n equals number of the digit using p, okay. Integer number of the letter equals number of letters. Integer number of the symbol equals symbol. Okay, you got these 3, and you have the total length. Okay, and right here, you go into here. Now, if you have at least one of these, then you actually call it a strong. You return strong. So if ND actually greater than 0, NL greater than 0. Greater than 0 means 1 or more, okay? And NS greater than 0, then you will return strong. Otherwise, you just directly return medium, because you already know that longer than 8, but doesn't qualify for the strong. You have a medium. Okay, now more character actually, okay, and then okay, between 8, 5 or 8, and at least one of it is actually a symbol. So right here, you go to the here. Okay, let's see. This one is actually between 5 and 8, and then at least one is a symbol. So you just need to come here and then say if ns greater than 0, you will return medium. Otherwise, you'll return weak. That's it. Any questions so far?
No.
You use a very complicated logic. Okay. And I see you miss some condition. You miss actually greater equal 8. You use I'm sorry, this part is less than 8. You use less equal 8, and then you make it worse. So this one you actually divide it by the number of the symbols, number of the letters. That actually is the best way to do it. Okay, don't combine it. You will kill yourself, and make readers very difficult to read. That also is no good. Okay, this one is part 1. I'm sorry, the question 1. Let's move on to question 2. So question 2 is a class design. Usually I don't go over every problem. I go over the problem a student has question, but today is the first time. So you do have a class design. So class design, you need to understand what is needed for this class. Okay, so you need to read the requirement for the class, and then after you write the class, you test it with this statement. You use the mental calculation to make sure all of these will return whatever you want to have. Okay, now let's go back to the class design. So you need to design a class that's called cruise class. A cruise object is created with 2 parameters. So you will have 2 parameters, okay, number of the people being assigned for the cruise and the current price. They didn't say that the price is double or it is an integer. So I believe either way should be fine, okay? But you need to calculate whether you run into the trouble if you use an integer. So there's a set price function you need to do. Set price is needed. Check response is needed. Calculate revenue is needed. So you need to have a constructor that is actually 2 parameters. You also need to have 2 variable that is actually the number of people and also the price. Okay, and then this class is done. 3 function, 1 constructor, and then 2 parameters. Now, you want to design that, so you started with, you can type public or not public is not important. So public class cruise. Okay, you have 2 variable. These 2 variable you do private, non-private, either way should be fine. They do not say that they have to be a private data. So, but right here still let's use a private. So private integer price and private integer people. Okay, let's use integer for now. If the price need double, we can change it later. But right now, be careful. So here you may put a maybe double. We'll come back later to check it. But in the exam, no comment needed. Okay, so this one is not needed. They don't mark you wrong, but it's not necessary. Okay, don't expect that they will read it. They don't need it. So now you need to have a constructor. So constructor need to be the same name as the cruise. So you do, but no return types of cruise. You do integer PR price and integer people PE. Okay, and then your price equals PR. Your people equals PE. Okay, now that's actually what. If you want to be more careful, you also can have a cruise. No argument, and do nothing. This is good enough. And you can also do price equal 0, okay, and then people equal 0. This is optional. Okay, this is one is not needed. This is optional. They don't deduct you point if you don't write it. Okay, so these are the data constructor. Now you need to have a 3 methods. So a better way to do it is that you know that you have 3 methods to do. You need to put the function name right into there first. So public void set price. Since this is a setter, so there is a set price function. So you do have a integer PR, and your price equals PR. Okay, that's actually set price. Can change the price of the cruise. Okay, that's good. Now, next one is check response. So public check response. So now let's look at check response. Check response will increase the number of the counter people if somebody requests the cruise using a phrase word cruise. You may assume all lower letters. Okay, now. So if you check response word cruise, then you increase the sign-up number to 79. So original is actually 78. You check this response. If there is a sign up, you increase the number of the element. Okay, so now let's do this. This one is still very easy. So it is a instance method. So this one, I don't think there is a return value for checking. Let's assume that it's actually void right now, okay? And then you do check response. And then you have a string. And this one, it actually called phrase, okay? It's called phrase. So let's use the word phrase. Let's use P. Okay, so if P dot index of rules, it say that you can assume that it's actually all lowercase letters. So you don't need to, okay? And in that case, you will, if there is a cruise later, then you sign up so your people will increase. If there is no cruise, it would remain the same. Okay, and that's it. That's all you need to do right now for the check response. Next one is check revenue. So third one is the check revenue. Check revenue, if the people is 300 people or more, so check revenue will calculate and return some value. Okay, so this one you will return the some revenue. Revenue is the money. And look like they are using integer. Okay, so far, if you use integer, should be fine. Okay, I don't see that you need to use a double. But if you use a double, will not be wrong anyway. Okay, there's no parameter will be used. Now let's look at it. Revenue is to return the number of the sign up so far multiplied by the current price. So price times the sign up. Okay, that's the total revenue. Now, if more than 300 people have signed up the cruise, everyone will receive a 500 discount off the current price. Okay, so you have more than 300. Okay, so the first case is if people greater than 300, so greater equal than 300, you have the discounts. Okay, the second one is if between 200 and 300, including 200, and this one is said including 200 means that may not include 300. If they include 300, then you will have to say also including 300. So right here, this one apparently is people greater if people greater equals 200, and the people less than 100. You do something, okay? Now anything else would be here. So now the first one is if it's more than 300, everyone receive a 500 discount. Okay, 500 discount of the current price. So your revenue will be equal to return, okay, people times the price minus 500. Right here, because you minus 500, so you have to check. Does it make sense? So if price greater than 500, you return that. Otherwise, you go below 500, so you will return 0. This one, this if is necessary or not, is debatable. Okay, it's debatable. I will put it in this way to be safe. Greater equal 500. Okay. If not necessary, you can just directly return this price, but it may happen that your price right now is 450 and you have a $500 discounts. Your revenue cannot be negative, so you return 0. Okay. Now let's read the second condition. If you are 200 or 200 more up to 300, you will deduct 350. The same thing, this one you have to check the boundary. So if price greater equals 350, then you will return people times price minus 350. Otherwise you return 0. Anything else, you don't get the discounts. So you do return people times price. Any questions so far?
No.
Most students, I don't deduct you point, but miss this one. Because if your price go down below 500, you are in trouble. You have negative revenue. That's impossible. You open a cruise, and then you return. You send money to customer. That doesn't make sense. That won't happen. Okay. Next one is a data analysis with arrays. So you got a file like this. Okay. And then what they want to have is they want to locate your name, using the name to locate it. So every line they put into the array list of lines. So there's a lines being stored as array list. Okay, this one usually if they are in the real college board exam, they will give you the class definition. Okay, so they do give you the class definition. They do have a recipient, and then there's a line, and then there's a constructor, and then the constructor will put this into a string, a list of lines into the array list. Now you do have a function you need to do. You need to write this get address function. What else you need to do? No, they don't. They do not have this. Now you want to get the address. So you have the string name. Okay, let's do Q question string. So there's only one function you need to do. So let's do public string get address. Okay, number one, you need to check that if there is a name or not. So you do integer index equals lines that index of name to figure out which line has the name. Okay, so if index less than 0 means you don't have the name, then you return empty string. The address is empty. So every student means this one. When there is no name in the recipients, they're still trying to return a name. That's actually impossible. You have to return a empty name, empty address. Okay, now you do got a index. So let's assume that you keep going on, and then you go to a line. You do have a name that's called John Smith. Okay. Now you want to go down to continue to find many lines until there's a line that has an empty string. Okay, the empty string means that that's the end of the edges. Okay, that's the end of the edges. So basically, you are going to return everything here. Okay. So you need to know about where is the end of the string. So Stephen, how to find the end line? You know here this one is index. How to find this empty string at the end?
Maybe you go inside and check if it's empty.
No. So you have a address, so let's call it ADD, okay? So your address start with empty string and then you will return ADD, okay? Now, you have the starting line that actually is the index. The ending line is, that's assume it's called empty. It's actually the lines that index of the empty string, and then starting from index, that's the end. So you do for integer I equals 0, I less than empty line, I increase. These are all the lines you want to do. Okay, so ADD plus equals the lines that get I. Okay, right here you have to check the format. So you actually basically get a name, change line, and then these change line, and then these change line, and then these change line. So the last one you end into here. So this one you may change line or may not change line. Which format I am not sure. Okay, I'm not sure whether the last one you will change line or not. Let's assume that you don't change line. Let's assume that you don't change line. You do have the A, comma, B, comma, C, comma, D case. So you do this. Okay. So you actually can do A without comma and comma B, comma C, comma D type of things. So you will do, I'm sorry, you will get started from I equals I index, not from 0. So if I equals I dx, then you add the line directly. Otherwise, you would add change line mark with the lines that get I. That's it. The whole question is like that. Usually student miss this one, miss this one. You go into the for loop to search for every single one, and you do not find the index right away. You actually know, you don't know which one you get started, and you do for loop for the whole array list. That's wrong. Any question?
No.
This one is assuming that you do have an A change line, B change line, C no change line. Okay. If the problem requires this also a change line, then you don't need to use this if. You directly do the line plus change line. Okay. I'm not sure. I write the problem. I do not see that they want it to have the change line on every single one. So each line is a meta list. The line appear in the list in the same order blank line separator in store in empty string. And then nothing else. Okay. I don't see any other description. Okay. Okay, that's question 3. Let's go to question 4. Question 4 is a two-dimensional array. This one you need to be careful. There is a metric class. There's an array utility class. Array utility class is a class. This reverse function is a class function. So when you call it, you need to call array utility dot reverse array. There is a class name you need to call. Some students miss it. Okay, that's that. So you do have this, you do have the reverse you need to do. Okay, this one, the original version of the parents need student to implement this reverse array, but right now look like they don't need it. So now you do have a metric. You want to do reverse metric. So let's see how it reverses. Your reverse is actually your 1 go down to here, 1 and 6 swap, 4 and 3 swap, 2 and 5 swap. Okay, that's it. The reverse array is like that. So 1 and 6 swap, 4 and 3 swap, 2 and 5 swap. Okay, so now before you go to here, you need to know that there's an intermediate format that actually give you 1, 6. I'm sorry. Actually, give you, I'm sorry. There's an intermediate format give you 2, 1, 4, 3, and then 6, 5. You need to convert this one to here, then go to here. So first step, you go to here, you actually, each row you need to do reverse. Second one is you do mirror on the middle of the matrix. Okay, these two things you need to do. So let's do first working on the reverse of every row. So you do reverse of every row. Let's go to it. So let's do Q4. So public void reverse. Matrix. You do for integer row equals 0, row less than m length. To go through every row, and then row increase. Okay, and then you do array utility dot reverse. Let me see, I forget the name. It's called reverse array. Okay, it reverse every row. So now this one reverse every row. So this one up to here, you do have, after this first for loop, you do have a 2, 1, 3, 4, 4, 3, 6, 5 format. Now you need to do up-down mirror. So you need to do up-down mirror means you actually change the row. So you do for integer rho equals 0, rho less than m dot length divided by 2, rho increase. You do up-down change, so you do have a integer rho for 10 equals m r, okay, and then m r equals m length minus 1 minus r, then m length minus 1 minus r will equals 10. These are swapping of the rows. So you have two parts, reverse of a single rows. This one called vertical mirror swap of rows up to middle. Is that okay so far?
Yeah.
That's it. You don't need to return anything because you are working on the M. M is a instant variable. So that's it. Okay, we are done with all of the 4 questions this week. Okay. Any questions so far?
Nope.
Now, every week, okay, let me emphasize one more time. Every week, we do give you a whole set and a FRQ, past FRQ, okay? So the first week, we are lighter. We just give you this diagnostics test. So one set, one full set, okay? Second week, we're still very light. We give you a multiple choice, a FRQ of the same year. So these are all the 2015 one. They are real problems. So we will know how good you are in the beginning, knowing about if you take the real exam of 2015, what score you will get, okay? But this is because they are old systems, so we will use a 40 out of 40 system. We will use a 40 question grading, the old style of grading, okay? Because this is the old style of question set. And then starting from the next week, we would have a whole set. So you will have a whole Barron's one, and then the old set of the 2016 FRQ. So here you have 4 FRQ, here you have 4 FRQ. So totally they are 8 FRQ starting from next week. Okay, and then 40 multiple choice. Okay, anyway, that's the format. But keep working hard, okay? Don't skip question, don't cheat, don't do anything weird. We need you to practice every day. So before class, you need to submit this one. So that's the soon next week we need you to finish the chapter 4. So Saturday we need to do the chapter 4. Before class, you do this. After class, you do this 2. Okay. These are related to the same chapter 3 decision, but we need you to finish the quiz before class. So every week we have a time right here. This is the class time. And then you need to work on this before the class time. And this 2 is 1 week due after the class. Okay, we actually made this very clear from the beginning of the class. But students just don't want to follow. I don't know why. I explained this many times. This is probably the 3rd time or the 4th time I explained it. But still today, still students don't show up. Okay. I know everybody has excuses, but if you miss a class, please make up. Otherwise, you are not following. Okay. We do give you the answer, but do not look at the answer before you submit it, okay? Because we give you the answer because we want you to know you are wrong or right. So we do give you the answer. But we don't want you to check the answer before it, because if you check the answer, then we do defeat the purpose for practicing. Okay? Same thing for FRQ. Don't look at the answer first. Okay, that's it for today. Good night and bye-bye.
Fine, thank you.